Dear Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, thank you for this day. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for all that you've done and what you will do. Lord, I pray that you think through me and speak through me right now. I pray that you help me to articulate what you would say, what you would what you would want me to say to the people listening to this episode today. Lord, I pray that the message that you want them to hear gets across. And I pray over everybody that's listening. I pray that they have an amazing rest of this week, amazing great rest of this day. And I pray over their life, the influences that they let into their life. And I pray that you just help them to control what is in their control. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of A King's Journal. Now, this one, I'm gonna dive right into it because I know I probably won't have enough time to go through everything. So this episode is called Control What You Consume. All right, so let's go back. I want to start with a story. Once upon a time, I was in elementary school. This was a while back, and I remember it like it was yesterday. We had recess time. Look, also another side note: recess was one of the most valuable parts of life as an elementary schooler, and I feel like it. You don't talk about it after elementary school, but it was one of the highlights because all of a lot of memories that I have come from what happened on that playground. A lot of personal development happened on that playground. But so I was on the playground, and me and this other kid, we were having this battle. Like it was me, the kid across from me, and then there was like some kids that were like surrounded. It was one of those real if you watch TV about people on the playground, this is that situation. The kids, my friends were over here, hang around me. That person's friends were around them, and then for some reason there was like one of the staff from the school was outside with us, standing there watching this thing happen, like almost like a referee. And we were having this battle where we were just shooting darts at each other, verbal darts. So like I would say, "You're ugly." The other person would say, "You're stupid." I would say, "Your teeth are crooked," and they would say, "Hey, your clothes don't match." And so we were just going back and forth. It was rapid fire. The challenge was you had to try to keep throwing as much attacks, or throw as much shade as possible, as quickly as possible. You can't hesitate. If you stop to think about it, then you lose. So this wasn't a common thing, but this was happening that day. I don't know how we got into it. I don't remember how we got into this thing, but we were in the middle of it, and I was ready to go. So me and this person going back and forth, and it was going really good. Everybody's on the edge of their seats. I'm talking like, I got my friends over here. They're eating popcorn. They're over there listening, eating snacks as well, listening to how we go back and forth on this thing. Like, oh, wow, hey, whoa, and it's just wild that this staff member is still standing here at this entire time. But so we were going back and forth, me and this person, and then we got to. I was running out of things to say. I'm not gonna lie to you. This person, I felt like they were too, but it was my turn to say something, and then I had already said the stupid, the ugly, and all this other stuff. Look, I don't condone this. Look, if you're below the ages of 18 and you're listening to this, I don't condone this kind of behavior. But this is what we was doing on the playground. So we was going back and forth, and then I was running out of words, and then I ended up saying, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think it was something on the lines of, "You're a," and I'm going to say biscuit for the B word, okay? And then that's when the battle ended. The battle ended. Everybody was silent at this point, but then the chaperone took my hand, and then we walked into the office. Then I was in trouble, and then I had to go home. And so after that, I got a phone call. Of course, they call your parents. They call your parents. After the yelling, after, "Hey, what's wrong with you? You in trouble, on punishment, and I'm coming, and then don't expect nothing." After all of that, I was asked by my mom, "Where did you learn to say that word? Where did you learn that word from?" And I told her, I'm like, I was sitting there, I was thinking about it. So I'm like, where did I learn that word? I think the only time I ever heard it is when my dad was on the phone with his friend Billy. Yeah, that's where I learned the word from. And then, Because when I would be in the car with my dad on the way to wherever, he might get a call from Billy, and what I noticed was he would his whole vocabulary would shift when he was on the phone with his friend, with his close friend that he grew up with. His whole vocabulary would switch, and so he was bringing out words that I had never heard before when he was on the phone with his friend. And so I'd be just listening in the car, of course, because I'm just there in the car as a kid, and that's my father. He's on the phone talking to his friends using all these words. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm taking note and mental notes. I'm taking notes of all these new words that I'm now learning and how he's using them and what they might mean. And so I don't really know what they mean, but I just know that there's a certain reaction that comes when it gets said. And so I told my mom, I heard it from my dad and him talking to Billy, and she didn't think that was funny, but my dad didn't think that was funny either, but later on they did think it was funny because look, it was something that was happening. I wouldn't have learned it if I didn't hear it. I wouldn't have just came up with the word. So, and that leads me to what this episode is about: control what you consume. Particularly, I want to focus on what you let in influences what you let out. Okay, what you let in influences what you let out. There's three main things I want to talk about. There's what you watch, what you listen to, and what you choose to be around you, what you let around you. What you watch, what you listen to, and what you let around you. These are the three areas that I'm going to focus on today. And now I want to start with Proverbs 4:23. It says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything that you do flows from it. That's the key. That's the key scripture here, because the thing is, and I'm sure you've heard this 1,000 times. Like on the other podcast that I was on, I kind of touched on this subject, but it's like what you listen to, what you meditate on, what you're watching what you're watching over and over again, the things that you let fester into your mind, like take root in your mind, they end up manifesting in what you do. Okay. And so that's what I'm going to talk about today. Because the thing is, I like to think about the mind like soil. Okay. I heard this from Earl Nightingale one time. He was like, you got to think of your mind like soil. But in Mark 4, it actually literally talks about the mind as like soil, because you can plant anything. And depending on what you plant and depending on what you do after you plant it, that's going to determine what is produced from it. The soil does not care. The soil has no opinion on or preference for what you put in it. But whatever you do put in it, if it's taken care of, if it's nurtured, then it produces something. So if it could be producing weeds, it could be producing trees with fruit, it could be producing plants, it can be producing grass, it can be producing poisonous leaves. Whatever you put in it and take care of, it's going to produce something. And our minds are the same exact way. If you're putting in a bunch of garbage, you're going to start seeing a bunch of garbage, right? So what you watch. Okay, what you watch influences how you think in certain situations. I don't know if anybody's been on like Facebook. So Facebook, there's this really great documentary. It's called The Social Dilemma. It pretty much tells you that they are tracking everything that you do, all of your behaviors, and then learning you better than you know yourself, so that they can predict what you're going to do next on social media, so that you stay on their platforms for longer. That's what the Social Dilemma is about. Okay. Now on here, say you go to Facebook and you go to the watch page. So if you go, there's the home page, and then the next tab is usually Facebook Watch. If you're on Facebook Watch, you watch a fight video, right? That fight video, they're going to show you like a hood fight video. If you're African American and you're from Detroit, then you've probably seen a bunch of these. I remember there was a time where there was a person named like Sharkeisha, and she hit some girl, and that was like a viral video for a solid month. And she became a celebrity, an infamous celebrity, because she had knocked this other girl out. Now, if you watch a fight video on Facebook, say you play it, watch it all the way through, refresh that page, you will have nothing but fight videos. And one thing I want to clarify before I move on is I'm not saying that everything that you watch, everything that you listen to directly makes you a different person. I'm saying what you meditate on. What things are you conceptualizing? What things are you reflecting on? What things are you letting take root in your mind? Right. So if I'm watching a fight, if I'm watching nothing but fight videos all the time, what then will I be inclined to do when someone pisses me off? Think about it. Think about it. If I'm watching things about peace, things about love, thinking about patience, things about self-control, then I'm going to think about those things because that's what's in me. That's what's in my heart. So when a situation comes, that's what I'm going to be able to use, because I can't use something I don't have. But if I have a bunch of fight videos, a bunch of people popping off, a bunch of people, cussing people out, then that's what I'm going to have to use at that moment in time. Even if that's not who I am, that's still going to be the thing that's going through my mind. So say the situation does come where maybe I have a few too many drinks. Then the natural thing, the thing that's festering in your mind, is the thing that's going to actually come out. What are you watching? And how is that affecting who you are? Social media. I want to talk about, how Instagram. So for those who don't know, Instagram is like the platform where you see highlights. You see the best of people's life, the best of people's businesses. You see people positioning themselves as experts. If someone goes on vacation, that's when they get active on social media. So the issue, though, can come when someone else is looking at social media and they're on Instagram and they're scrolling through and they just see nothing but amazing things happening. And then they think about their own life and their own situation. And they might think, oh my goodness, I wish I went on a vacation to Peru, or I wish I could afford to take my friends on this yacht, or I wish I could go out to eat. And it looks like they're just having so much fun all the time. And then you start to get into this dangerous territory where you're playing the comparison game. Okay, I see this, I see these people, and this looks great, and I'm not doing that, so there's something must be wrong with me and my life, which is dangerous. It's extremely dangerous, because the thing is, you don't actually know what's going on the other side of the camera, of that picture. You don't know. Because that other person who posted that picture of them on vacation in Hawaii, they could have had it in their phone for the last 3 months. You don't know. They could be in the depths of depression right now, but they want to keep up their perception on social media, so they post themselves smiling, but they really are broken and hurt on the inside. But you don't know any of that. So you're looking at the picture and you're comparing yourself to them, and you're getting depressed yourself because you think that their life is so great and you don't even know the details. Dangerous, vicious cycle. What are you watching? And then what are you doing with what you're watching? And I'm gonna touch on another one too. I know this one gonna hit somebody. This one gonna hit you. this one's gonna hit somebody. Look, there's a platform online that you can go to, and you can go watch all sorts of different videos and see different pictures of people having all sorts of sexual activity with each other. Okay, it's called porn. All right. For anybody who doesn't know what that is, it's not something you want to be a part of. It's not something that you want to consistently consume. Because why? Look, I'm gonna bring it back to the same thing. If it's something that you are continuously watching, something that you're continuously meditating on, think about the situation that you get in. Like I said, what you watch influences how you think to act in certain situations. Say you're watching this thing consistently, it doesn't affect, what you see on there, that's just them. They're nasty people, but it's interesting to me to watch it. So, I'm good. But say you get into a relationship with somebody who's actually really good and really genuine. Now you can't stop thinking about what you might do with them or what you want to do to them. Now your urges are just so strong that you don't really know what to do. Now your behavior is getting weird because your conversation is off, because you just want to get to you just want to get to this fantasy that you've been making in your mind, that you've been meditating on, because you've been watching this crap all day. Look, I know that's you, but look, don't look next to you. It might be the person next to you who's actually been in that situation. It's not you. Of course, it's not you. but it might be that person next to you. And I'm just here to let you know that that's a dangerous spot to be in. What you listen to. Okay, so I went through that one. The next one is what you listen to. So Psalms 1, 2 through 4. But he that delights in the law of the Lord, and in his law doeth he meditate day and night, and he shall be like a tree planted next to the river of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season, and his leaf also shall not wither, and whithersoever he go, or whatever soever he do, shall prosper. So he that delight in the Lord, the law of the Lord, day and night. So I'm gonna break that word down though, because it talks about meditating on the law of the Lord. What does meditate mean? So it's to moan, to groan, to utter, muse, mutter, meditate, devise, plot, speak. I broke it down even further. What is the word specifically meditate? Because where you do all the translations, those are the words that you get, the catalog of words. After that, I take one of the specific words and then I go find the Webster dictionary for it. The Webster dictionary for it is to engage in contemplation or reflection. So if I'm meditating on something regularly, day and night, then that thing now influences what I do, how I act. The reason that it says to meditate on the law of the Lord and to delight in it and meditate on it day and night is so that when you get into a situation where you have a question, you're trying to figure out what you should do, this thing that you've been meditating on comes to mind. The Holy Spirit helps with that, most definitely. But you have to have read it. You have to have gotten it into you for the Holy Spirit to bring it up to you and bring it in front of your face. So that's the thing. What are you listening to and then contemplating on and reflecting on day and night? To articulate this, I wanted to grab some lyrics. I was listening. Well, I wasn't listening, but for this specifically, I found this song. Okay, I was listening to, there's a group called City Girls. All right, and they have a song. I just literally looked them up, and then just saw and then went to the tab on Google for songs, and then I saw this song, which is one of the first ones that comes up for you. And so there's a few potty words in it that I won't be saying, but when I say the N word, I'm going to use ninja. When I say the B word is going to be biscuit, and I'm going to recite these lyrics from How to Pimp a Ninja. All right. Think about if your daughter was listening to this song. I'm going to show you biscuits how to pimp a ninja. Make him think you love him. Take his money, then you dip on ninjas. Rule 1, never ever fall in love with some dick that you meet up in the club. Now you got him where you want him, boo. Tell him first round, daddy water on me. Make a ninja feel like a mother fluffing pea, boss. He'll come to understand that the pussy ain't free. Got that quality control. Good pussy ain't cheap. Ninjas love when you talk to him ratchet. If he got a check, then his fantasy can happen. In a room full of hoes, you don't beat the madam. Got the blueprint to a ninja's pocket and his pay. Ow. Ladies and gentlemen, City Girls. Yo, look, what you listen to, what you meditate on day and night definitely affects what you do and how you react. Look, just like I said in Psalms 1, 2 through 4. Say your daughter is meditating on these lyrics right here from How to Pimp a Ninja from City Girls. How ratchet, how tough would a healthy relationship be if this is what she thought about dudes, about how to treat another human, how to treat a male? It's dangerous. Look, my friend, I was having a conversation. I think I actually brought him up 2 weeks ago, but my friend Jesse, because I think for those Christian folk out there, I think it's good to have conversations with people who aren't fully saved, sanctified, and all about the Bible and going to thump your head with the Bible every day. Because the thing is, when you have conversations with people who aren't, then you get to understand more of how they think and how other people think that aren't in your bubble, so that you can better understand the real state of humanity. Okay. And so I was talking to my friend Jesse, and he's a hip hop head, man. He's gonna tell you the newest song, the newest album. He's gonna tell you the artist's mother, where they grew up. He's gonna tell you every single lyric in the song and what they're referencing to in those lyrics. He's the dude who can tell you everything about music. He's in it. He's listening to music all the time, and he's gonna go and find out all the information that has to do with the artist that he cares about. Okay, that's this guy. So we were in a conversation similar to this topic, talking about this topic a long time ago. And I was telling him, like, look, what you listen to all the time, definitely you can't possibly think that it doesn't affect you at all. You can't possibly think that if you're sitting here thinking about or listening to these kind of lyrics and these kind of songs all day, every day, that it's not going to affect you in some way. It does. And he's like, no, there's no way. I mean, no, that doesn't make. Look, it's not always like that. Like, look, you can listen to anything you want. Like, I listen to all kinds of different music, and it doesn't make me do certain things. And I get that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that what you contemplate, what you reflect on, definitely influences what you do. Therefore, if I'm listening to a song with these kind of lyrics all the time, right, and I don't have previous knowledge or wisdom and understanding to know that this isn't how you treat another person or how you should think towards another person, then this is going into soil, right? And there's nothing to block it. This is going straight down. This is going straight into my mind. And now I'm starting to reflect on and contemplate how I would be in a certain situation if a ninja, right? If I'm a female, if I'm this kid who's listening to this, I'm thinking about if a ninja, because now it's not even, they didn't even say a man. They didn't say a guy. They didn't even say a dude, a male, a boy. They said a ninja. So to describe guys in general. So now if I'm meditating on this day and night, listen to this song, because I'm just pumping it in the car. I'm pumping it in the gym. I'm pumping it after I leave the gym. I'm pumping it around my friends. We're going out and hanging out and we're listening to this too. And so it's just on and on and on and on, just replaying in my head over and over. And so I'm just continuously thinking about this thing. And so then I tell him, Jesse, if a person is listening to this all the time, they're thinking about the lyrics, not just casually it's on, but I'm talking about they're thinking about the lyrics. It cannot, just the way that people work, it cannot not affect you. Think about it. It's just interesting to me to think that you can watch something, you can listen to something, you can do certain things repeatedly and think that they have no effect on you at all. I think it's crazy because, like, think about this. A lot of people are in a situation, I think probably the majority of people are in a situation where they were raised by parents who had certain habits and certain patterns. And now this new individual, the child, has to either undo or decide for themselves if they want to continue to do the thing that their parents did because they were influenced by their parents and how they raised them. Okay, so this could lead you in a lot of different directions. And a lot of times, sadly, it can lead you in a really bad direction. Say your father was abusive to your mother. Now you don't know how to treat a woman, right? Say your father was an alcoholic, and say now every time someone brings you a drink, you don't know when your limit is. You just keep doing the same thing because you think that's just how people are supposed to be because your father did it, right? And so, I'm not moving responsibility off anybody. You do at a certain point have to decide for yourself, but some people don't know better. And since they don't know better, and since they're so used to something, they continuously do the negative thing because they think that's just what life is. It's a dangerous place to be in. What you listen to, what you consume, affects what you do. And then the last thing is what you let around you. I want to go to Proverbs 22:24 for this one. Make no friendship with an angry man, and with a furious man thou shalt not go. I said it last week. There's the saying, you probably heard it, that you are the average of the 7 people that you hang around the most. This is factual. I believe this because if you hang around angry people, then you might not be a person who's like always on edge. But if you hang around a bunch of people who just will pop off at the moment something happens that they don't agree with, then immediately you're going to start thinking more like this. Because I mean, we're social creatures. Like, we're human beings. We're social. We like to be around people. We like to fit in. We want to fit in. So say you're a high schooler, right? And you're around someone who's really good at fighting and really quick to get into fights. Think about it. Then you might not have been that person who's gonna throw hands with somebody, but you start hanging around all people who fight all the time, then you might just want to do that too. That's just how it is. That's human nature. And the same is true on the opposite side. If I hang around winners, I'm most likely going to want to make myself a winner too. I want to fit in. That's just how people are. No one wants to be alone. No one wants to be lonely. And I know there's some people out there who's like, well, I'm an introvert. I don't like people. I don't like being around people. There's a certain amount of time that I'm gonna be around people, and then after that, I'm done. Or there's people like, yeah, and I don't need nobody. I'm good by myself. It's just me and my boo thing, and we just rocking this thing out. I don't got time for all that other stuff. Even you, Mr. Introvert, Mrs. Introvert, you have a need for community. Think about it. If you're on social media, if you go to any sort of events, if you have friends at all, if you go, say you just go hang with your family, you find some way, as a human being, you find some way to interact with others. And those situations where you interact with others, they then have the opportunity to influence you. So if I'm letting around me, just like the same example is with the kid growing up. If I'm letting around me people who are lazy, people who they get off work and typically the first thing that they do is complain about their entire workday. They complain about their pay. They complain about the people. They complain about the work schedule. They complain about getting up tomorrow, and tomorrow ain't even here yet, but they complain about that already. And now that's the conversation that they're having on a regular basis, talking about how bad life and the situation that they're in really is. And this is who you call your closest friend. How sad. Because if I'm around this, now say I'm not using the same thing where I want, you want to fit in, but again, the things that are consistently in your mind, the things that you decide to tune into, you end up turning into. So say you're not a person who's going to do a bunch of complaining, but now every single thing that kind of ticks you off, now you start to think about how bad everything is. I don't know if you guys have ever like hung around someone who's just always negative. Like those, like the worst, like the most irritating to me, some of the most irritating people to hang around are people who just complain about anything, no matter what it is. You could be winning. You could have just been elected president of the United States. They're gonna be like, well, them Republicans still gonna come at you. It's your birthday. Like, well, it looks like you got another year. Ugh, I guess. But you're still in the same situation. Like they're gonna find something negative in every single thing that happens, no matter what it is, no matter how great it is, no matter what's happening. These people are like cancer to society, because the thing is, they go negative on something, then it makes everyone else think about how negative the other things are. Now you got to have, I mean, there's a certain level where everybody has to reinforce the things that are good. Like, no, that's not what it is. This is good. This thing is, I'm the president of the United States. Now I have control of the things that I can control as within my authority. Now I can make changes. Now I can do things because I can stand up for something. I have authority to do certain things. This is not negative. This is a positive. But say that person is your best friend. That person and say the people around you are all like this. Eventually, and this is just how life works, you gonna start to change. You gonna start to shift. You gonna start to think more like how they think. Why? Because this is what you tuned into. This is what you are continuously consuming. It's what you watch, it's what you hear, and it's what you let around you. So don't think that you just the most unique human being on the planet where nothing around you affects or influences you at all. It don't work like that. And that's just a fact. But pretty much, like I said before, what you let in influences what you let out. So the moral of the story is to control what you consume. Now, I'm not saying to get away, you gotta watch out for all rap or all this or all that, or you can't be around these kind of people ever. But you can take things in moderation. But make sure that whatever the majority is benefiting you and not going to hurt you. You got to make sure that whatever you're letting in, whatever you're consuming the most of, and whatever you're reflecting on the most of is aligned with how you see yourself and how you see yourself becoming. Because if it does not, if you're just letting anything in, then, and there's a lot of trash in this world, then you might start seeing a trash situation because you just let whatever come into your sphere and influence you in any kind of way. Oftentimes it ain't gonna be a good result. So control what you watch. Are you being motivated? Are you being inspired? Are you being educated? Control what you listen to. There are things like podcasts. You can select specific things that you listen to. You can be listening to the word. You can listen to an audiobook. You can be listening to a podcast. You can be listening to all kinds of different things that are going to build you up. There's even rap that. So like if I listen to Jay-Z talking about how he's winning and y'all know he's winning, he's been winning for a long time. That's better than talking about how you can just get with someone, take their money and leave them because they're not worth anything. There's a difference. What are you consuming? And then what you let around you. Be really particular about who you let as your friend, who you talk to the most. Look, I understand around family functions, you go around your family, right? They might be ratchet, all right? They might be a little ratchet, okay? But it's okay on a Christmas, on Thanksgiving. You go do it. You spend your time doing what the thing is on that day so that you can just have your time with your family, how you're supposed to, right? But you don't have to continuously be talking all the time with these same kind of people if you know that it doesn't produce anything that you want in your life. Control it. So I'm not going to make this too much longer. That is today's episode. Again, my name is Martel Fletcher. If you haven't already, share this, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I will see y'all next week. Peace.